Picture this. Someone creates a cartoon in 1969. A talking dog, four teenagers, and a van. That's the whole pitch. And somehow it becomes one of the longest running animated franchises in American television history. 55 years, over $1 billion in merchandise, hundreds of episodes, live action films, theme park rides, Halloween costumes that literally everyone has worn at some point. Then Warner Brothers looks at this golden goose and says, you know what? Let's remove the dog, make everyone unlikable, and turn it into an adult show about murder and drugs. This is the story of Scooby-Doo, how a simple cartoon about meddling kids became a cultural phenomenon, and how the people who own it seem determined to destroy it. Grab some Scooby snacks, this one's gonna hurt.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo!
Parent groups are furious. Shows like Johnny Quest and Space Ghost are getting heat for being too aggressive. CBS executive Fred Silverman is scrambling. He needs something new, something non-violent, something that won't get him yelled at by angry mums. He calls Hanna-Barbera and says, make me something like the Archies. Teenagers, but they solve mysteries. Hanna-Barbera passes this to two writers, Joe Ruby and Ken Spears. These guys didn't just write a cartoon, they accidentally invented an entire genre. The first concept was called Mysteries 5. Five teenagers in a rock band solving supernatural mysteries between gigs. They had a dog named Too Much. The characters were different too. Jeff, Kelly, Linda, WW, and some guy named Mike who got caught immediately. The dog was originally a sheepdog because they worried a Great Dane would look too much like Marmaduke.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo!
When they pitched Who's Scared to CBS executives, the network hated it. Too scary, too dark, not funny enough. Ruby and Spears went back, dropped the rock band, made it more comedic, focused on the dog and the cowardly hippie. Then Fred Silverman, on a red-eye flight, hears Frank Sinatra's Strangers in the Night. That part at the end where Sinatra goes doobie-doobie-doo. That's where Scooby-Doo comes from.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo!
A Frank Sinatra ad-lib, one of the most recognizable names in cartoon history, from a scat improvisation.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo!
September 13th, 1969. Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Premieres on CBS, instant hit. The formula was ridiculously simple. Gang arrives somewhere, something spooky happens, they split up. Fred goes with Daphne, Shaggy goes with Scooby and Velma. Chase sequence with a goofy song.
Faster! We can catch him! There's something in that tunnel!
They set a trap.
The other track.
I'll slow it down, and maybe they'll jump into it.
Trap fails hilariously.
Not here.
There's where he crashed through the tent.
And you can see where he hit that crate.
Trap somehow works anyway.
We did it, Scooby-Doo! We did it!
Wait a minute.
Unmask the bad guy.
Just as we thought.
It's the cure rate.
And I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids.
And it would have been mine if it hadn't been to those meddling kids.
That's every episode. For 55 years. The genius part, monsters were always fake. Always some bitter real estate developer or disgruntled employee in a rubber mask. It taught kids that scary things have logical explanations, that critical thinking beats fear. Pretty progressive for 1969. Quick reminder while we're here, if this content is helpful to you, smash that subscribe button to join our growing community. Your support means everything. All right, let's continue.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo!
The voice cast was perfect. Don Messick as Scooby, Casey Kasem, the American top 40 guy as Shaggy, Frank Welker as Fred. These people defined these characters for decades. The archetypes, iconic. Fred, confident leader obsessed with traps. Daphne, fashionable, always getting captured. Velma, the brain who loses her glasses every episode. Shaggy, coward who'd betray his friends for a sandwich. Scooby, basically Shaggy but a dog. Simple, memorable, merchandisable. 4 different character costumes and a talking dog toy. That's money.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo!
By the mid-70s, Scooby-Doo wasn't just a cartoon, it was an empire. Lunchboxes, action figures, Halloween costumes, breakfast cereal, video games, bed sheets, anything you could slap a cartoon dog on, they did it. The franchise generated over $1 billion in merchandise sales by the early 2000s. $1 billion on a cartoon about a dog who talks funny. The shows kept coming. The new Scooby-Doo movies in 1972 brought in celebrity guests. The Harlem Globetrotters, Sonny and Cher, Batman, Don Knotts. The ultimate crossover before crossovers were cool. The format was bulletproof. CBS aired it until 1976. ABC picked it up until 1986. 17 consecutive years of Saturday morning Scooby-Doo. Kids who watched the premiere grew up, had their own kids, and those kids watched Scooby-Doo too. Then something terrible happened.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo!
1979, ratings declining, kids getting bored with the formula. Hanna-Barbera panicked. Their solution? A puppy. Meet Scrappy-Doo, Scooby's nephew, an annoying, overconfident Great Dane puppy whose catchphrase was puppy power and who wanted to fight every monster. I'm not going to say Scrappy saved the franchise. He did. Ratings went up, the show continued. But at what cost? Scrappy became so prominent that Fred, Daphne, and Velma got written out. For years, the 1980s were dominated by episodes featuring just Scooby, Shaggy, and Scrappy. The fan hatred is legendary. The 2002 live action movie made Scrappy the villain. That's how much everyone hated him. The writers said, let's make the annoying dog the bad guy. Give the people what they want. Scrappy-Doo is so universally despised. There's an actual TV trope named after him, the Scrappy. Any character introduced that the fan base immediately rejects, that's his legacy, not saving the franchise, being synonymous with bad creative decisions.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo!
After years of declining interest, Warner Brothers, who acquired Hanna-Barbera, tried something different. 1998. Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. For the first time ever, the monsters were real. No rubber masks, no disgruntled janitors, actual supernatural cat creatures in the Louisiana bayou trying to kill the gang. Darker tone, real stakes, gorgeous animation. Fans lost their minds. In a good way. This kicked off beloved direct-to-video films. Witch's Ghost, Alien Invaders, Cyber Chase. Each one treated the source material with respect while trying something new. But the true peak, the absolute creative zenith, Scooby-Doo, Mystery Incorporated, 2010 to 2013. If you haven't seen Mystery Incorporated, stop this video, go watch it. It's on Netflix. I'll wait. This show took everything great about Scooby-Doo and elevated it. An actual overarching plot, character development, romance, tragedy, references to H.P. Lovecraft and Twin Peaks, a villain named the Evil Entity, voiced by Clancy Brown. Scooby-Doo for people who grew up with Scooby-Doo. Mature without being inappropriate, complex without being pretentious. It earned its darkness. Mystery Incorporated is widely considered the best Scooby-Doo series ever. Highest IMDb ratings. Critics loved it. Fans loved it. What did Warner Brothers do after this masterpiece ended in 2013?
Scooby-Dooby-Doo!
Let me rewind. The live action movies. 2002, Warner Brothers releases Scooby-Doo, starring Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, Linda Cardellini, and Matthew Lillard. Matthew Lillard as Shaggy is one of the greatest casting decisions in film history. I will die on this hill. The man didn't play Shaggy. He became Shaggy. When Casey Kasem retired in 2009, he personally asked Lillard to take over the voice. That's respect. Critics hated the movie. 32% on Rotten Tomatoes, but it made $275 million worldwide. Audiences loved it. Fun fact, James Gunn, the Guardians of the Galaxy guy, wrote the screenplay. There was apparently an R-rated cut with more adult jokes that nobody will ever see. Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed, flopped, made $181 million, still profitable, but not enough for Warner Brothers. Matthew Lillard thought his career was over. He expected to be number one on the call sheet for the next 10 years. Instead, his agents offered him Dancing with the Stars. But here's the beautiful part. Lillard never stopped being Shaggy. He's voiced the character in almost every animated project since 2010. Mystery Incorporated, Be Cool, Scooby-Doo, the direct-to-video films. 2 decades of commitment. Then Warner Brothers made Scoob in 2020 and replaced him with Will Forte. They didn't even tell him. He found out online. The guy who'd been Shaggy for a decade, handpicked by Casey Kasem himself, learned he'd been replaced by reading the news.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo!
January 2023, HBO Max releases Velma, an adult animated series created by Mindy Kaling, a Scooby-Doo show without Scooby-Doo. The show reimagined everything. Velma is South Asian and the protagonist. Daphne is East Asian and a drug dealer. Shaggy, now called Norville, is black and has no personality. Fred is a rich, stupid white guy whose whole arc involves jokes about his anatomy. The tone mean-spirited. Violence, nudity, jokes that actively hate the source material. Velma wasn't honoring the source material. It was mocking it. The creators seemed embarrassed to be making a Scooby-Doo show. The result, IMDb rating 1.6 out of 10. The lowest rated animated series in the site's history. Rotten Tomatoes audience score 7%, and it got renewed for a second season. Enough people hate watched it to break viewership records. The show was cancelled in late 2024 after season 2. 2 seasons of what fans called an insult to 50 years of Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo!
Warner Brothers making terrible decisions. 2022. They're finishing Scoob Holiday Haunt, a Christmas prequel to the 2020 Scoob film. Mark Hamill in the cast, written by Paul Dini, the guy behind Batman, the animated series. 95% complete. Then David Zaslav takes over Warner Bros. Discovery. August 2nd, 2022. Film cancelled, along with Batgirl. Both nearly finished movies, thrown in the trash. Why? Tax write-offs. By shelving the films and writing them off as losses, Warner Brothers could claim $40 million back from the government. But to keep that tax benefit, they can never release these movies, ever. The director, Michael Kurinsky, found out via text message from a stranger before Warner Brothers even called him. His response, they finished the movie anyway, because it was already paid for. Somewhere in the Warner Brothers vault, there's a completed Scooby-Doo Christmas movie that no one will ever see. This is what happens when corporations treat art like spreadsheets.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo!
Where does Scooby-Doo stand in 2025? The reboot series ended in 2021. Mystery Incorporated is a decade old. Direct-to-video films have slowed down. Velma was a disaster. The theatrical universe died with Scoob's underperformance. Warner Brothers owns one of the most recognizable cartoon characters in history and seems to have no idea what to do with it. Here's what should happen. 1. Make a Mystery Incorporated style show for streaming. The audience is there. Adults who grew up with Scooby-Doo want mature quality content that respects the source material, not mockery, respect. 2. Bring back theatrical films properly with Matthew Lillard. The man is 54 and still willing. He voiced Shaggy in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. He's not going anywhere. 3. Stop trying to reinvent the formula. Scooby-Doo works because it's simple. 4 teens, a dog, a van, mysteries, execute it well. 4. Treat the IP with the same respect Disney treats Mickey Mouse or Universal treats their monsters. This is a legacy brand. Act like it. Scooby-Doo has survived 55 years. It's outlasted trends, network changes, corporate mergers, and creative disasters like Scrappy-Doo and Velma. The formula works because it taps into something universal. The fun of mystery, the comfort of friendship, the reassurance that scary things usually have rational explanations, $1 billion in merchandise, hundreds of episodes, cultural icon status. Yet Warner Brothers seems determined to ignore it, mishandle it, or actively sabotage it. The mystery machine is still out there, waiting for someone at Warner Brothers to actually drive it somewhere worthwhile. Until then, at least there's always Mystery Incorporated. What's your favorite Scooby-Doo series? Let me know in the comments. If you made it this far, you're a real one. Like and subscribe for more.